Talk to us a little bit about, the I guess it's the tee up to the obvious question, right? AI and security, right? Tell us the Darwin view of AI and security. You gave us a little bit of taste, but let's get a little bit into that.
Yeah, to, I I think with the recent Anthropic intel report on them having thwarted a threat campaign that was 80 or 90% automated using Claude code, this is a question that's top of a lot of
No.
people's minds. Um, as we do often in security, I think I think it's overblown.
Yeah.
Um, Hold on, there's a fire alarm going on.
We'll pause that right there.
It's nothing serious. I think it's my
You go take care of it, man. If it's a piece of toast in the toaster, I was just
something happened, and
I was just telling Julie that's a first for the podcast. We're gonna have to put that one in the outtakes, man.
yeah, yeah. I think the it also ties into the anthropic stuff being a fire drill.
Pre
But
Thanksgiving stuff.
yeah, it's
All good.
it's it's under control. They say.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of John Has Trust Issues. My name is John Martinez. I'm the tech evangelist here at StrongDM. Um, it's an honor for me to have Darwin Salazar with us today. Hey, Darwin, how's it going, man? Everything good?
What's good, John? Yeah, man. We're on Thanksgiving Eve. Um, things in the cybersphere continue to rip. It doesn't matter like
Right.
whether it's a holiday or not. There's always crazy stuff going on. But all things considered, work related, cyber related, and personal life related, things are going very well. So
That's awesome, man. Yeah.
happy to be here finally on
Thank you.
John Has Trust Issues.
Thank you.
A long time coming, and I love what you're doing. So
Thank you. Thank you, Darwin. Yeah, first of all, let's get started. I read your most recent, and I'll let you talk about it, your newsletter in a minute here. But I read your most recent Cybersecurity Pulse, and I have to say, man, those pictures from Peru, I mean, it just looks amazing. It's a bucket list item for me? Is it all that? It looks it.
it is all that. It's a lot of hard work. So
Yeah,
I'll tell you, do it sooner than later
right,
because climbing like from 9,000 feet above sea level to 14,000
right,
feet above sea level at a 75-degree incline is not easy.
right,
Um, and so, like, there are some hikes
right,
that, like, while the destination is like beautiful,
right.
beautiful, out of this world, um, like the altitude sickness gets to you, and it's just some very tough long hikes. So while the sites were gorgeous, I do have to add the disclaimer, like, be ready to work for
So
it.
so prep before you go. That's what I'm hearing. Is I go get in the miles, get in the steps, go up the hills and all that before you head out there.
Bingo.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. So Darwin, again, thank you. I appreciate you being on here. So Darwin, for everybody, is a cybersec veteran. Been doing this for a while. You went from practitioner. You have in many respects a very similar path like mine. Practitioner, now in go to market roles, and a strategist. And you have the Cybersecurity Pulse newsletter. So any other projects I'm missing there that you're involved in?
No, I think that captures it all.
Okay.
Yeah, I have my hands full
Yeah.
to both, so don't
Yeah.
have time for other work related stuff.
Right, right. So before we get too far into the questions I have for you today, and it's going to be an awesome for everybody. It's going to be an awesome interview today. Give us a quick snapshot of your career journey. Where you went from to where you are now, how and why. I know a lot of people on here are practitioners. Some might be starting their careers out. Some might be CISO level. how'd you go in your trajectory in your career? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think my security and hacking career started back in, I want to say, like 2010,
Hmm.
2011.
Hmm.
Uh, and as most security or IT folks, it started with gaming.
Hmm.
So playing a lot of Halo
Yeah.
3 and Call of Duty 4
Right.
competitively, and also
Nice.
trash talking people in game rooms. And with that comes getting the red rings of death on your Xbox, and then learning how the hell did someone kick me off the group chat and turn my Xbox off. Uh, and so I learned how to do it. And for people, like, people would trash talk me, and I would just give them the red rings of death.
Yeah.
Um, and then there was also like hardware hacking and modding your controllers. And so the whole hacking culture within gaming
Yeah.
is really what turned me on to the way that you can manipulate systems and
Hmm.
computers to achieve a certain outcome.
Right.
Um, and so I adopted that mindset. But I didn't, aside from gaming, I didn't have any other channel
Yeah.
to put that into until I got to college. And I noticed that there was a uh, digital forensics and national security component to
Hmm.
a master's degree, a
Hmm.
homeland security master's degree,
Hmm.
but none of that was offered at the undergrad level. And so what happened freshman year, I had like several peers that were in the 5 year track for that homeland
Hmm.
security program. We petitioned to have the grad courses offered at the undergrad level.
Right.
But since a lot of those professors were also full time practitioners,
Hmm.
they weren't able to give classes at the undergrad level during the day.
Hmm.
And so we ended up starting the cybersecurity club ourselves and teaching ourselves, how to use Wireshark,
Right.
Nmat,
Right.
Metasploit, competing in CTFs. And so pretty much follow the self-taught path
Hmm.
up until junior year when I qualified for grad courses. And so from like an academia standpoint, that's where things really started taking off for me in the security space. And I've done quite a bit of worn different security
Right.
hats. I was an intern at a cyber policy think tank called the Pell Center.
Hmm.
Um, I did business continuity and disaster recovery at a financial firm in DC as an intern my junior year. I also did some red teaming at Ford Motors up in Dearborn, Michigan,
Hmm.
one summer, which is super eye opening. I did a security fellowship in Tel Aviv, focusing on offensive security over winter break in 2017.
Hmm.
And I finally landed a full time role. My first full time role was focusing on medical device security at Johnson and Johnson.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so I borrowed from my IoT experience at Ford and applied it there. That was a very cool project. We were working on a digital surgery platform to be able to remotely track the status of medical devices out in the
Yeah.
field, whether operation
Yeah.
or all that good stuff. Which that got me exposed to the cloud,
Right.
because for these medical devices, we had a digital twin in the
Hmm.
cloud,
Hmm.
and ensuring that the configs for those devices were hardened, and also for the cloud environment, the virtual networks,
Yep.
all the storage containers where all the data was being sent back to, all that posture
Right.
management aspect.
Right.
uh, I started getting exposed to that, and eventually ended up going over to Accenture, becoming a cloud security consultant,
Hmm.
was drinking cloud security Kool-Aid. uh, and that's where I started cutting my teeth on detection
Right.
engineering.
Right.
So yeah, building detections within KQL, within Microsoft Sentinel and Splunk for different Fortune 500s. Also, while I was at Johnson and Johnson, I cut my teeth on high trust, and at Accenture, I cut my teeth on PCI.
Right.
Um, so all that's to say is, like, I
Mhm.
finally, when I was at Accenture, I was focusing solely on Azure, and I eventually felt like I was being pigeonholed only onto
Right.
Azure projects,
Right.
and I was like, I want to touch all the clouds.
Right.
Where's a job that I could touch all the clouds? And the opportunity came up at Datadog,
Hmm.
where they were looking for a detection engineer for their CSPM,
Hmm.
and that would allow me to touch AWS, create detection content for AWS,
Right.
Google Cloud, and Azure. And so I took that up, and there I found out I really love the user experience side and product side
Right.
of security solutions, because as a consultant, I had onboarded some solutions that introduced more friction than what it actually solved for in
Right.
practitioners' lives.
Right.
And having dealt with cloud security posture management since my early days at J&J,
Yeah.
I kind of had an idea of what a user cares the most
Right.
about when it comes to cloud security
Right.
finding. And so I embedded with the teams there, the UX and product teams there, and found out I really have a passion for product
Right.
and the business
Right.
side of
Right.
cyber,
Right.
which landed me. It's what led to me creating the
Yeah.
Cybersecurity Pulse newsletter, but also landed me at my current role
Hmm.
as growth at Monad.
Yeah.
So, uh, long journey, um, many hats,
Yeah.
and looking back 5 years
Yeah.
ago, would I have imagined that I'm in on the marketing side
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
the side?
The go to
No,
market side. Yeah.
I wouldn't have imagined that, but here we are,
Yeah.
and I'm enjoying
Right.
everything that I'm working on. So I think that's all we could ask for.
That's awesome. Yeah. So like, all of your practitioner level lessons that you learned, right? Obviously as a security practitioner, actually living and breathing incidents and on call sessions and all of that stuff that goes along with it, right? What are the pain points? Well, back up a little bit, right? You build some grit and you build some muscle memory and some toughness. That's part of that, right? What would you say you bring from your practitioner experience over into go to market roles that you've done recently?
That's a fantastic question. I think more than anything, I often feel like the sole voice or one of the only voices of the practitioner.
Mm,
So this comes across when um, sitting on sales calls
yeah, yeah,
and seeing how people interact with prospects
yeah,
and the feedback and kind of just like the noticing the little micro responses from the prospect and then like being able to advocate
yeah,
for how practitioners need to be sold to.
yeah.
This also comes across in marketing copy.
Hmm.
Security practitioners have the strongest nose for BS
Hmm.
out of every other industry, and it's because
Right,
we're trained to be paranoid.
right.
And so, like, not that marketers should play it safe,
Yeah,
but don't ever try to BS the
yeah,
security industry, like or ambulance chase.
yeah,
It's the number one way to get blacklisted
yeah,
by security leaders. And then it also that experience also allows me to like help advocate for slicker, more intuitive product experiences because deployment, like the deployment and integration of a platform across let's say a fleet of 5,000 endpoint
mhm,
devices, it shouldn't take 6 months.
right.
Um, so like it bleeds that practitioner experience bleeds across almost everything that I do today.
Yeah,
Um, and I think more go to market folks should at least take practitioner trainings
right,
or understand things like the detection engineering life
right,
cycle or the SDLC and
right,
like really try to get at the same frequency of the people who they're selling to.
right.
So
Do you find that there's a tighter I guess I'd call it like a symbiotic relationship, right, between the go-to-market side of the cybersecurity business than any other part of tech, or is it about the same, or like how tight is the relationship between the go-to-market side and the practitioner side?
hmm, I think it depends case by case. I think it depends on the company,
Yeah.
right? Because um, I've seen instances where they're like the go to market team is pretty disconnected from it's almost disconnected from reality
Yeah.
and not I don't think that they embed that much with their engineering
Mm.
teams. And often a symptom of this is vendor marketing over promising stuff
Mhm,
and
mhm.
then the engineering team saying we don't have that in the product yet
Right, right.
or like that level of ROI
Yeah.
cannot be justified, or
Right.
so I think those are symptoms of a disconnected
Yeah.
go to market and product slash
Right.
engineering team.
Right. So the old sales adage, right? Don't sell what's not on the truck, or only sell what's on the truck. That's very
Bingo.
true, right?
Yeah, even in 2025, man, it's like it's crazy.
Let's shift gear. I'd love what you're doing with the cybersecurity pulse. I think you're a very unique voice out there in the industry where you flow very smoothly between the business side of our industry and the tech side, right? You have that keen sense of like, okay, where's the industry right now? Where has it been? Kind of looking back at history to maybe analyze what's going on today and possibly a little bit of what's coming on the horizon, right? So tell us a little bit about the cybersecurity pulse. Where you are with that, where you see it going, and frankly, my other question on that is like, how the hell do you come up with what to write in the cybersecurity? A little bit of the behind the scenes part of it, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's very high praise coming from
Yeah.
you. You definitely understand both the very deep technical side of the
Mm.
house and then the business side of the house. So having that come from you is pretty dope. I think what helps me kind of have a bird's eye view and switch across different domains and different lenses within the security space is that I think of like all of my past experiences have shaped me for what I do today, and that includes looking at the state of cyber readiness
Mhm.
of South Korea's military when I
Mhm.
was at doing the cyber policy think tank
Mhm.
internship. So I think about cybersecurity from a national security
Yeah.
standpoint and a global security
Yeah.
standpoint, and then business continuity and disaster recovery, like incidents, like down system downtime
Yeah.
is more crucial and negatively impactful to organizations than a data breach.
No.
And so like understanding from all of these different experiences and
Mm.
also the red teaming experience, um, all of that has shaped my perspective today.
Mm.
And then when you lump in the go to market experience that I have, it allows me to kind of have a holistic approach to how I see things. And when it comes to trends and themes, um, I think it's two pronged. The security vendor solutions adapt to the threat landscape.
Mhm.
And so keeping a pulse on, like the Shai Hulud NPM
Yep.
worm, or I forget there was I forget there was a vuln which basically led security vendors to start taking asset inventorying way more
Mhm.
seriously. And the thing is probably like 21 or 22.
Mm.
But like these incidents,
Mhm.
these pivotal security incidents shape
Mhm.
what features
Right.
and solutions are built by vendors,
Yeah.
and then capabilities wise.
Yeah.
So threat landscape driven product building, and then capabilities wise, we have in 2022, ChatGPT came out and then caused a big splash, and
Yeah.
folks started implementing that into their solutions. Fast forward to 2025, there's like more AI socks than actual practitioners in our
Right.
space.
Right.
So yeah, and we could have predicted that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Time, like, could we have predicted exactly when it was going to happen? Maybe
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
But I think after you spend time in the industry, you start noticing patterns,
Yeah.
and those patterns can be applied, across
Yeah.
decades.
Yeah.
So I think that really helps. And then in terms of like the sausage making process with the newsletter, I have a feed, an AI feed that uses keyword terms
Mhm.
and scrapes the web for new
Right.
articles that include those keywords.
Mhm.
and centralizes it for me.
Hmm.
And then everything after that is pretty manual. Like I go ahead and cherry pick the headlines that I think are most relevant to my
Right.
readers,
Right.
and then um, pretty much synthesize it myself and kind of just ramble.
Right.
Like I,
Right.
I give my opinion on what I think
Right.
about that headline,
Right.
and then I ship it. And I think perfection is the enemy of done.
Right.
And like, there's this book that I have behind me, The
Hmm.
Creative Act, Way of Being by Rick Rubin.
Uh-huh.
What he says is create for
Yeah.
yourself, and your audience will find you.
Right.
So that lowers the bar in terms of creating for
Right.
others and trying
Right.
to know what others want from you and
Right.
things of that nature. So that's a bit about like the perspective and the actual process
Right.
for the newsletter.
Right.
Hmm.
So I like what you said earlier because I think it definitely fits very well into my next question. You mentioned about security incidents. What's happening out there dictates a lot of what vendors work on, right? But in your opinion, are we as an industry really hitting on what the business needs that CISOs have out there are, right? Are we doing them a service? Are we doing them a disservice? Are we, and I guess I'm lumping us all together in one big one
Yeah.
big pot, right? Give or take, right? But are we really hitting what CISOs care about? What the issues that they care about are, and addressing the real issues that they face.
It's a great question and a tough one,
Yeah.
because CISOs have pressures from many different angles, from the board,
Right.
from regulatory bodies, um, from the threat landscape.
Hmm.
And so, what does a CISO really want
Hmm.
from a vendor standpoint? I think it depends across domains, because if for CISOs reporting up to the board, they want to have risk quantification
Hmm.
and be able to show metrics as like, how's our vulnerability management
Hmm.
program improving, how are the investments in the budget
Hmm.
that the board gave
Right.
me last year, how's it manifesting into breaches
Right.
stopped, or ROI, or like how did we enable adopting AI faster than
Yeah.
our competitors? Like that's what the board wants to see from the CISO. Regulatory bodies want to make sure that you're PCI compliant.
Right.
And so, does being PCI compliant mean you actually have a safe fortress,
Right.
or it maybe it helps act
Right.
as a framework
Right.
into like what's the bare minimum that you should have deployed, but being PCI, I've seen hundreds of companies that are PCI
Right.
compliant get
Right. Right.
popped. And then from a I guess from like a threat landscape standpoint, if you see a competitor get popped, let's say you're in the retail industry and you see a competitor get popped by a scattered spider,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you better be holding on to your seat hoping that you don't get popped by a
Right.
scattered spider, right? So I think CISOs are under a lot of pressure, and it's tough for a solution or a number of solutions to solve all of them. I think it's a mix of people, process, technology.
Uh-huh.
Are we headed in the right direction? I think so. I do think that with the new wave of AI security
Yeah.
solutions that are coming out, you see things like AI agent
Hmm.
identity.
Hmm.
uh, that is top of mind for a
Right.
lot of folks, and many solutions have
Right.
cropped up to solve for that.
Right.
There's also, and I don't know if StrongDM plugs in on that end, but like AI agent identity is a hot space.
Yeah.
And then there's what else? Um, the ballooning of code generation
Yeah.
and secure code
Yeah. Exactly.
generation.
Yeah.
New tools popping up for
Right.
that. So I think we're listening to the market is listening
Yeah.
to what CISOs
Yeah.
need. Yes.
Yeah, and yeah, just to really quickly, right? And because Strong DM does pay for this podcast, so so yeah, we are delving into the agentic side of AI security. So we have a new open source project called Leash that we recently announced that's in that world, right? And the authors, and specifically in the space that Strong DM is in, right, which is authorization. So we definitely are dipping. I wouldn't say our toes. We're dipping our entire like right leg into it. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, that's awesome, especially the open source approach
Yeah.
because um, you could take it, you could customize it. It's helpful for SMBs. It's like everyone we love open source at
Yeah.
the end of the day.
Yep.
We don't appreciate it enough,
Yep.
so I'm glad to see your folks are putting dollars behind it
Yep.
and taking it seriously.
Yep. You mentioned a little bit earlier about one of the things that CISOs need to do is basically not just predict what the threat landscape is going to look like and how that's going to affect their organization, right? Which is the I guess their the magic 8 ball part of their their role, right? But go to the board and propose budgets, for that they need to go do, right? So in your latest cybersecurity pulse, I saw your tag there for Wiz's study about budgets increasing possibly for 2025, right? I know it's been kind of the 2026. Sorry,
Mhm.
I know 25 has kind of been a funny year for in a lot of respects. There's been some lean stuff, there's been some maybe cutbacks even, right? Um, what about you personally? I know that you don't necessarily agree or disagree with all of the content you put in your newsletter, but do you agree with that? That there's something coming in 26 where their budgets are going to increase.
I agree. I think I certainly agree that budgets will continue to increase. Cybersecurity budgets will continue to increase,
Mm-hmm.
not only in 2026, but in 27, in
Yeah.
28,
Yep.
in 29,
Yep.
and moving forward. Because um, I think uptime, defending uptime of your systems
Mhm.
and crown jewels and your apps that are your
Yep.
main money
Yep.
makers. Um, are table stakes.
Mm-hmm.
And this year we've seen companies like Mark and Spencer's,
Mm-hmm.
UK-based retailer,
Mm-hmm.
get popped, and it cost them 400 million euros to
Mm-hmm.
recover. We saw the Jaguar Land Rover breach, which I think total economic impact to the UK was 1.2 billion euros.
Wow.
And so, like,
Yeah.
you see those, yeah, you see those headlines, and then you have a CISO who's asking maybe for like a $1 to $3 million budget increase against the previous
Yeah.
year, and it's almost a no-brainer. But also, like cyber insurance companies are demanding more
Yeah.
from the companies that they're
Yeah.
insuring.
Yep.
Uh, the regulatory landscape continues to shift with GDPR and PCI. And then the attack surface is growing. So more AI,
Mm-hmm.
more shadow AI,
Yeah.
more tools being adopted by the enterprise
Yeah.
means broader attack
Right.
surface, which means in some instances, those attack surfaces cannot be handled by traditional tools. They
Yeah.
require new tools, and so that means more budget. So
Yeah.
I think the CISO has a lot of ammo to use in
Yeah.
fighting for
Yeah.
budget, and so I do feel it will continue to
Yeah.
that chart for CISO budget will continue to go up and to the right.
Yeah, and that I like what you just said, right? That whole aspect of the threats and the breaches coming really fast, and AI being a part of it. It's funny that the truism when I was in cloud security as well, right back 8, 9, 10 years ago, it was right even less than that. I did come from Palo Alto Networks to here, but but it's something that we knew even like 10, 12 years ago when I was a practitioner in the cloud world, is that attackers use the exact same techniques that we used to automate, to speed up, go to market for our products, right? This cloud enabled, really fast turnaround, right? But guess what? So it enable that speed, that exact same velocity for the attackers trying to crack into our stuff, right? AI, I think, is just accelerated that and turned it on its head, right? So talk to us a little bit about the I guess it's the tee up to the obvious question, right? AI and security, right? Tell us the Darwin view of AI and security. You gave us a little bit of taste, but let's get a little bit into that.
Yeah, to, I I think with the recent Anthropic intel report on them having thwarted a threat campaign that was 80 or 90% automated using Claude code, this is a question that's top of a lot of
Yeah.
people's minds. Um, as we do often in security, I think the I think it's overblown.
Yeah.
Um, hold on, there's a fire alarm going on.
We'll pause that right there. But yeah,
Yeah,
so like you're talking about the Anthropic fire drill, right? So yeah, tell us about that, because I think that's a great take on what's the current state of AI and security, right?
yeah. I think attackers are lazy, and they're always going to go after the low hanging fruit.
Hmm.
And so, rather than thinking about the most sophisticated AI powered threat
Hmm.
actors, um, I would, if I'm a security leader, I'm focusing on ensuring that don't have any public facing assets, especially crown jewels.
Yeah.
That we have zero trust implemented
Hmm.
throughout.
Hmm.
That we have our fundamentals in place, and so that if an attacker does get in,
Yeah.
there like the blast radius is limited. So there's also defense in depth and
Yeah.
all those
Yeah.
principles that we all know. So when it comes to use attackers using AI, it's a no-brainer. Of
Yeah.
course, yeah, we've seen business email compromise go through the roof. They've become more sophisticated. People
Hmm.
can craft like better phishing emails
Right.
with zero typos that are
Yeah.
way more,
Yeah.
um, just better overall.
Yeah.
And then there's also Scott Piper from Wiz.
Hmm.
He released a piece on threat campaigns
Hmm.
and malware that invokes
Hmm.
AI once deployed into an environment.
Yeah.
So it's something real. Um, I think it's still error prone because AI does hallucinate, and this
Hmm.
is something that Scott found, and also Anthropic's
Yeah.
report found that even though they're using AI to speed things up, it's speeding up the manual
Yeah.
labor that humans would previously take, but it's not introducing new attack techniques
Right.
or things that would blow your mind.
Yeah.
It's also just making attacks faster. And if I guess if you don't have your defenses up to par, it doesn't really matter. Like a script kiddie could get in the same
Right.
way a
Right.
sophisticated nation
Right.
state attacker would get in.
Yeah.
So and then the other thing is like we've seen a lot of social engineering attacks with um, Coinbase last year got
Hmm.
popped,
Hmm.
and like basically the help desk being a
Hmm.
main threat vector, an
Yeah.
entry point. That is easy to vish.
Yeah.
You can use these highly realistic AI models to craft
Hmm.
calls that
Right.
are very persuasive and things of that nature. So I guess the social engineering side, phishing,
Yeah.
vishing, and
Yeah.
scamming has experienced a big boom.
Yeah.
But in terms of techniques and tactics, nah, not really. We haven't seen that yet.
Yeah. Nothing incredibly novel. It's just a continuation of the old, just faster. Is basically your. Yeah. So you mentioned zero trust, right? And it's something that on this show we've talked about before quite a bit, right? And you preempted my question. You mentioned its relevancy still, right?
Oh yeah,
So I was going to ask you, trust but verify or zero trust, right? And how relevant is that today in the market?
yeah. I have to go with zero trust,
Right.
100%, because especially where now you have more systems and service
Yeah.
accounts and quote unquote non-human
Yeah, yeah.
identities performing actions on behalf of users or organizations. Like, you have to build the proper authorization
Mhm.
gates in order with the proper like um I guess criteria in order to obtain
Right.
that access. And this is where privileged identity man, PIM or
Right.
PAM come into
Mhm.
play, whether for humans or agents.
Mhm.
Um, I think going back to the point of blast radius,
Mhm.
identity plays a key role in that.
Mhm.
So if a credential gets leaked and it's found on GitHub
Right.
or wherever, can an attacker go from a read-only user role
Right.
within your cloud all the way to global admin?
Yep.
And if they can, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Uh, and so, I think zero trust is extremely relevant still, and probably even more so because of the
Yep.
AI agent stuff. Um, and if I'm not an identity person, but I absolutely like I consider eh, I hate buzzwords,
Yeah.
but and
Yeah.
some people think zero trust is a buzzword, but I think
Mhm.
it's just a very neat way of
Mhm.
encapsulating the things that you should be doing with an identity
Yeah.
program. Period.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I
Yeah.
think it still holds very true.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like the aspect of, there being no inherent trust and validating everything continuously, right? I mean, there's just that. I mean, yeah, that's the kind of the next level down of the term, right? Of the term of zero trust, right? Which is
Yep.
totally all right. So let's turn a little bit to rewind a little bit of your younger self, right? I know you walked us through your career journey, right? And I know that there's going to be some young engineers watching this and thinking of like, hey man, that sounds like a really cool journey, right? So what advice would you give young engineers, and by that I mean young engineers of any age? I like the Lego style age group, like zero to kids for zero from 0 to 99, right?
Beautiful.
What advice would you give them if they want to kind of shift their focus away from practitioner roles to a product role or a business role in this industry?
Number one, I think more practitioners should come over to the business side of
Hmm.
security,
Hmm.
whether as a product manager, marketing, sales engineer, etc. I think a go-to-market role in security is still fairly technical,
Hmm.
and as a practitioner, you have a lot of superpowers that you can tap into that some of your peers don't have,
Yep.
who don't have practitioner experience. And then I would say the when jumping into a brand new role or
Hmm.
following a path that is not linear,
Hmm.
uh, the number one thing that I always told myself is I could always, if I don't like product management, if I don't like go to market, I
Right.
could always go back to being an engineer.
Right. Right.
That experience is not lost.
Right.
And the worst thing, you hear all these like, I wish I would have done XYZ from
Right.
people who are in their deathbeds.
Right.
And it's, a lot of people wish they just would have followed their
Right.
curiosity.
Right.
And that would be my number one advice for
Yeah.
engineers and anyone else is just
Yeah.
follow what you're
Yeah.
curious and
Yeah.
have desire for, and then the path will appear.
Right.
So
Right. Um, do you still do like hacking of sorts? Like, do you still mess around with things when you have time?
no, sadly, no. I did sign up for National Cyber League, which
Uh,
is a online CTF.
uh,
Um, for this season, I hope to carve the time out over
nice.
like the coming months.
Yeah.
And then I do want to, I haven't had too much time to play around with AI.
Hmm.
I want to dive in headfirst on MCP,
Hmm.
see like what the different use cases are, how it differs from
Right.
APIs and things of that nature. But um, yeah, sadly haven't had the time
Right.
to,
Right.
other than I guess like building demos
Right.
for
Right. Right.
um, messing around with Monad, maybe sending
Yeah.
logs from like CrowdStrike to S3 using
Right.
Monad,
Right.
like very simple stuff. I haven't had the,
Right.
the chance to or break stuff.
Right. That's cool. Yeah, no, it's something that, yeah, I'll crack out or bring out, like, a bunch of Raspberry Pis or something like that and see what I can do with it. Maybe.
Dude, and yeah, now that you mentioned Raspberry Pis, I forgot to mention that yeah, a huge part of my
Right.
career has also I can also attribute to Security Weekly,
Right.
the podcast,
Right.
and
Right.
they had a Raspberry Pi farm that I think was helping automate some of
Right.
the show things
Right.
back in uh, 2016,
Uh-huh.
2017.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's Raspberry Pis, man. They're freaking. They could do n number of things. It's amazing.
It's yeah, like with anything, right? We just talked about, hackers using the same tools that we use, right? To defend the fort, right? Raspberry Pi is good for good and good for other things.
Oh yeah, war driving.
Yeah,
All
yeah. Low power,
that.
all of that stuff. What piece of advice would you give your younger self from your vantage point now?
I think I would tell myself to slow down, um, because like I was always focused on what the next thing would be and upskilling so
Hmm.
that I could be the best detection engineer, so
Hmm.
that I could land the best role,
Hmm.
best next role,
Yep.
uh, and make more money, and so that I could help my family,
Yep.
and all these things. But
Hmm.
I have come to find that, like, when you're just present in the moment and slow
Hmm.
down, and
Hmm.
you do extremely well what's right in front of
Yep.
you, um, the right thing will land in your lap.
Right.
And so it would just be, and that would also take off a lot of internal pressure
Hmm.
that I put on myself to
Hmm.
perform and
Right.
all that stuff. And it just helped me live a better life.
Right.
So,
Right.
um, and it would just be slow down.
Take the time and go to Peru. Go hike
Big,
up a ruin, an ancient ruin.
yeah. Yeah.
Love
Just
it.
like go touch grass and
Right, right.
go hug your mom.
There
And
you go. Love it. Love it.
yeah.
I know, like, I know this is an important aspect of, not just building your career, but being the person you are, right? Because that's, you and I met through community, right? A while back, a long time ago. Seems like forever ago now. But so tell us a little bit about your involvement with Cyversity. I'm a member of Cyversity as well. I'm definitely not as active as you, but tell us a little bit about Cyversity, your involvement with Cyversity, how it helped you, how it helps other people out there. So give us a little bit of the plug on Cyversity.
Absolutely. So this is a bit of a wild story.
Mm-hmm.
And it was I think end, ending the first semester of my junior year.
Mm-hmm.
Like right after I had taken my last final, me and my buddies were waiting for the dining hall at school to open for dinner,
Mm-hmm.
maybe like 5:30 or whatever. And I'm sitting at my desk and I'm thinking, okay, like what are some security conferences? Like how can I continue like deepening my security
Yeah.
knowledge? And so I started looking for security conferences in the area for that following year.
Yep.
And I stumbled across this thing called the International Consortium for Minority Cybersecurity Professionals,
Mm-hmm.
which is ICMCP, which is today Cyversity.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the list of attendees. Like, there's all these CISOs and
Yeah.
security leaders and people of color. And I'm like, crap. I need to be there, and the
Yeah.
cybersecurity club
Yeah.
needs to be there. So how are we going to make this happen? And ultimately, it took place during spring break,
Mm-hmm.
luckily. And so a group of my friends from the cybersecurity clubs and I rented a car,
Mm-hmm.
rented an Airbnb, all paid for out of pocket, nothing from the university. And we drove down from Rhode Island to Washington, D.C., 8-hour drive.
Right.
Um, and we stayed at an Airbnb. And when we got to the conference, like we were the only group of students there, it
Mm-hmm.
was all security execs.
Right.
and they were like, all these people were flabbergasted. They're like, who the hell are these students?
Yeah.
How did they get here? How did they hear about us? It's like we're talking Corey Thomas. Corey Thomas, CEO of Rapid 7, was supposed to
Hmm.
be there, but there was a snowstorm. But we're talking like today, the CISO of Synchrony Bank,
Hmm.
uh, Devin Bryan, at the time CISO of the Federal Reserve Bank of the
Hmm.
U.S., all these like big name CISOs,
Hmm.
and they were like so amazed that we took the time to drive out there, and they just showered us with love, and
Yep.
they're like, "Yeah, we'll mentor you and
Yep.
give you internships and all this
Yep.
stuff," which
Yep.
is how I landed my internship in DC, doing business continuity and
Mhm.
disaster recovery. It was through that Cybersecurity conference, and ever since 2017, also from that conference, I was able to chat with Corey
Mhm.
Thomas for a bit, and he told me about this program that he did his junior year going into senior year at
Mhm.
Harvard Business School.
Mhm.
And then I applied to it. I had not heard about it before, but I applied to it. I used him as a reference, and then I got into that program at HBS.
Mhm.
So a lot of like career shifting things
Mhm.
happen just by taking the leap and going to that one
Right.
conference.
Right.
And even still to this day, I feel like they do so much for the community. They offer scholarships, free SANS training, which SANS training costs like $10,000 a pop. Like
Yeah.
the network, of course, is
Right.
amazing, but what
Right.
they do for the people coming up into
Mhm.
security
Mhm.
is stellar. And I wouldn't be where I'm at if it
Right.
weren't for Cyversity.
Right.
So yeah, I'm just extremely thankful for the work that they've done and continue to do. And
Right.
we have a gala coming up here in Austin in December and all that good stuff. But um, yeah, if folks are interested and you're
Mhm.
listening, I think the website is cyversity.org, or John, if you could put it in the show notes, that would
We'll
be helpful.
we'll definitely put it on our the link in the YouTube description for sure.
Awesome.
As something there. So yeah, so we'll make sure that everybody gets that.
Awesome. Yeah, and I did confirm it's cyversity.org.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, dope group. And also Tequeria,
Yep.
where we met.
Yep.
I'm not sure if it's going still, but I remember our Friday
Yep.
cafecitos.
Yeah. Yeah. Cafecito cibernético. Those were the days, man.
Yeah,
For sure.
good old days.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Lots of sharing of stories and a lot of it was great because it was not just the goings on of the week, right? The some disaster or something I had to wake up at 3 in the morning for or whatever, but also like the wins, right?
Yep.
That's an important aspect of it, right? The wins, and you and I were talking earlier about not just how tough it is to get into cybersecurity, but how tough it is to remain right in cybersecurity. On that, just really quickly, what is the one accomplishment, or it could be a couple, right, that you're most proud of, or maybe to frame it in another way, that your mom's is more proud of, most proud of that you've accomplished, right? Just really quickly. It could be personal, it could be career.
Yeah. It's a great. That question requires a lot of pondering. Let me see. Yeah,
That's a good sign.
it's like what's that one thing, right? Let's see. Um, I think I was blessed enough to get a full ride scholarship
That's awesome.
to the university that I went to,
Hmm.
and the advisor that I worked, college advisor that I worked with on my essay to get
Hmm.
that full
Hmm.
ride, he had asked me if I knew anyone from my high school
Hmm.
that could be a good candidate
Hmm.
for the same
Yep.
scholarship, and I recommended a few folks.
Hmm.
And I helped them with like crafting how to craft the essay and everything.
Yep.
And one of them actually ended up getting the full ride.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
awesome.
is someone who came of Mexican descent, came
Hmm.
from underrepresented
Hmm.
background,
Hmm.
and had all tuition paid
Hmm.
for four
Hmm.
years. Of course, still
Yeah.
had to take room and board, but
Yeah.
I think that's probably my proudest accomplishment. I
Yeah.
think all the stuff that we accomplish in our careers,
Hmm.
like whether it's accolades or
Mhm.
featureship or
Mhm.
money made. It's,
Right.
we don't take any of that with us,
Right.
but the like the I think my proudest moments are just seeing when I spend time with someone
Mhm.
and they turn it into something
Right.
greater.
Right.
Uh, that's I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And so also wanted to give a shout out to you, John, for we catch up every
Yep.
now and then, and
Yep.
you get a lot of wisdom.
Yep.
And so thanks for your mentorship. I
Of
want to
course.
give that shout out
Of
live.
course.
But
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you. And I think it's a great example too. You mentioned a great example of, helping that other person out doesn't need to happen when you're at my stage in life, right? Where you have a gray beard and no hair on the top anymore. And you've been doing this for a while, right? It can happen while you're, still in college, right? You're still in your, very young and might not even have a career yet, right? So that's an awesome example. I love that example for you. Do you have recommendations, like anywhere that you've published, or maybe if you have, your top two or three, like for books, newsletters, podcasts, other things, besides the Cybersecurity Pulse, of course. Everybody go read that, right? You have anything like
yeah.
that you enjoy or that you listen to?
I don't have a repository, but that just gave me a great idea. I
Yeah,
should probably centralize like my favorite cyber books, podcasts, newsletters, etc., and host it on my Substack.
yeah.
Um, I think my favorite security book is The Cuckoo's Egg
Okay.
by Clifford Stoll.
Uh-huh.
I think for anybody getting into the industry or in this industry who
Mhm.
hasn't read that book, it gives you a very like detailed kind of perspective of what life was like for a. I wouldn't even call it a security defender. It was like life when at the inception of the internet,
Yeah.
what life was like then and
Mhm.
how attackers were hunted in back in like the mid 80s.
Mhm.
It's an amazing book. And then for movies, I think Sneakers and Hackers are two of my favorite security or slash
Mhm.
hacker movies. There's a book that I recently picked up called the Cybersecurity's Dirty Secret:
Nice.
Why Most Budgets Go to Waste,
Yeah.
by Ross Young. And we have some like high praise and claim
Mhm.
from Admiral Michael Rogers, former director of the NSA, Phil Venables, former CISO of Google Cloud, former CTO of CIA, and all that
Mhm.
stuff. But like when we talk about like total cost of ownership of a
Mhm.
security
Mhm.
solution,
Yep.
ROI, and helping CISOs make the case for your solution. It
Mhm.
talks a lot about that, but it also talks about like why CISOs don't get as much bang for the buck from
Right.
security solutions.
Right.
So
Right.
there's a lot that's broken in our space, and this is a CISO's take on
Yeah.
what's broken and how to
Yeah.
address it. And
Yeah.
so those are a few books and a few movies, podcasts. Of
Yep.
course, John has Trust Issues and
Thank you.
Security Weekly
Yep.
podcast. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Darwin, this has been an amazing conversation. Thank you for coming on to the show. Before we wrap up, any other projects you want to pitch or anything else you want to pitch while we're here? Monad Security.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I would pitch two things. Um, if you're a SOC operator or a
Mhm.
security leader, check out monad.com. We do security data ETL. And then number two, one that we didn't really touch on too much is taking care of your health.
Yep.
Because of course, if you don't have your health
Mhm.
in place,
Yep.
it's very hard to fill other cups, whether work or personal
Mhm.
relationships, whatever the case may be. And as security practitioners or people in high pressured roles, we have a lot of demands on us, and
Mhm.
it's hard to perform if you're not, feeling well mentally or physically. And so I would love it. I think that's a great note to end on.
Yep.
And of course, John, thanks for having
Of
me.
course.
Uh, hope to do this again
Let's
sometime
do it.
next year.
Yep.
Yep. And
think
Yeah.
you already given me the next idea, which is what's broken in our industry.
Yeah.
We could have a whole another conversation just on that.
Yeah. I think that's a LinkedIn post that would do extremely well.
Totally. Everybody, thank you again for joining us for John Has Trust Issues. It's been an amazing conversation with my friend Darwin Salazar. Until next time, everybody have a great holiday, and we'll see you again soon.